record button here. Okay. Welcome to our Getting Started live webinar. We will be reviewing the page ladder, how to add fonts, setting up the ReplayIt private photo submission account, and how to transfer material from a 2021 account to the current year. You will be able to find all the information I'm covering in the Memory Book online manual under Design and Creation. This webinar will be approximately 20 to 30 minutes long. I also wanted to remind everybody that I'm going to make sure you're muted on your end so we can kind of keep the background noise down a little bit. Okay, once you get your information on how to log in, you're going to go to memoryebooks.com and you're going to make sure that 2022 is here in the screen. And then you're going to type in your username and then your password. My computer, I've got it set to save it, so that just makes life easier down the line. Okay, once you get logged in, this is your welcome screen here. This tells you your due date. It's not to make you have a panic attack or anything, but this time is determined by the due date that you've set up with your customer rep. So if you need to change that, you'll need to visit with them about changing that and giving maybe a little bit more time, but that'll all depend on when you want your book delivered. Here's a little graph that tells you how many total pages and how many pages are started, in progress, completed, and submitted. And then upcoming events, my book submission is June 1st. My estimated ship date is July 1st. I've already made my cover choice. And if you haven't made your cover choice, you want to get that into us as soon as possible. This little area here, the graph here, shows how many images I've tagged. If you're not tagging any of your candid pictures, you don't need to worry about this. And this is a little overview of the images that have been uploaded, so you don't really need to pay attention to that either. So the first place we're going to go is here with the plan. And I also wanted to mention on that main screen where you log in, it's got a link there that you can click on. If you've forgotten your password, you can go in and get it reset. And here in the page ladder, this is how your pages are going to be laid out in your book. So page 1 is going to be by itself here on the right. So this area here would be the back side of your cover or the end sheet. And page 2 and 3 will be opposing, 4 and 5, and so on. And then the last page will be the same way. It will be on the left-hand side, and so this area here would be the back side of your cover. I know it's kind of confusing if you're new to your booking. Sometimes you think that that's going to be your actual cover, but these are all just the inside pages. If you'll notice, there's a little border around each of these thumbnails of the pages. That they're just color-coded as to the status that they're in. So if there's a red border around it, that means that page isn't started. The yellow means it's in progress, and green is completed, and black is submitted. And as you go down through your creation and your designing process, your statuses will change. So once you get a page like you want it, you're going to complete it, and then the little border is going to turn green, and then the next step would be to submit it, and then the border would be black, and you wouldn't have any options out here to the side. Okay, if you're wanting to use these filters over here, you can use them. If you've got your pages assigned to people, you can just you can see who's assigned to what pages with this. All page types. You can also do color, black and white. If you have a couple of pages you wanted to make black and white, you can go in here to page type and change that. And then all page statuses. So if you wanted to just see the ones that are in progress, you could choose that in the filter, and just these pages are in progress. So I've gone in and started on these pages. But to see all the pages again, you want to go back to all page statuses, and then you also have all lock statuses. So if you've completed some of these pages, or you've clicked this little lock icon to keep someone from working on it, say your staff or your group, you could click the little lock icon and that's going to lock the page. And the advisor is the only one that can unlock that. Up in the top corner here is the print icon. You can click this and you can print the page ladder. Or at the end, when you want to save a proof of your pages, you'll click print all, and then it's going to create a PDF that you can save to your computer and print from there. Under actions, when you go to submitting your pages, you can click this little box where it says check all, and then choose the next step that you want to do to your pages. So maybe you have all your pages ready to be completed. You can click the check all button and then click complete, and they'll all complete if there isn't any issues on the pages. And then here's a page range if you wanted to just choose a few pages. Now this main button here, you can load last year's descriptions and sections. So the description and section is this little area right here. Let me make my screen just a little bit bigger. But right here it says section and description. So if you, and this is just maybe to help you stay organized. So if you filled this area in last year, then when you click this button, it's going to load whatever was in these windows on this page from last year. It doesn't put anything on the page, it just fills in this area here. So I've got this section is going to be the PTO section, and this page in particular is going to be my principal's message. So I could assign this one to be PTO, and I could maybe just say teacher fun. So when you enter any information in these windows or choose an assignment, you want to go up here to the top left and save all. So if you load last year's descriptions and sections, you can just go in here and change them so you're not locked into how the pages are going to be flowed this year or how they're going to be in the order. Load last year's page design. When you click this button, if you're a returning customer, when you click that, the templates will pop onto the pages exactly like they were when you submitted the pages last year. The text boxes will be blank. It'll go back to that default text, and the image boxes will be blank. And over here in the top right corner is the page mover. Now it's always best to try to create your pages in the order that you want them to be in the book, because a lot of times if you wanted 4 and 5 to be opposing and you wanted to have the same theme, say it was the Halloween party, well, it's best to have those designed across from each other so that if you go into the page mover and you just want to arrange the order of your spreads, then it's easier because you're moving 2 pages at a time. When you break them apart and move 1 page at a time, they won't shuffle properly, and then your spreads will be broken up. Okay, so my next thing is I want to show you guys how to create staff logins, or if you have a team and you want to create separate logins for everyone, you'll go here to Plan and you'll go to Staff, and over here at the right you'll click Add Staff, and you'll fill in the fields here. Now here, if you're giving this user advisor status, you can't use just plain advisor like that was assigned to you to begin with. So you could always use that to be like advisor 2 or advisor 3. You'll have to add another letter with that or number. You're going to create a password for your team to use. So here's your what you need to go by so that you have a legitimate password. And then over here you'll need an email, and that's just so that you can correspond with them. So if you're sending an email out to the team, you want to have a good current email there. And also that allows them to reset their password if they've forgotten how to get in. And then here you'll choose what role you want them to have. A memory book business manager is not an option, but they could be the advisor, the second advisor, or maybe you're creating another advisor login for yourself. And so you would put your name up here, create a password, make it advisor 1 or 2, and put your email in, and then choose advisor. Now, when you give someone advisor status, that means that they have every privilege that you do. So they're going to see all the different features in the program. So if you're just wanting your team to go in and create pages and not be able to submit the pages and whatnot, you would need to choose staff. Now, an editor has a few more privileges than staff, so you would kind of need to decide what you want, what category you want them to have, or what role. And you can see those different roles on page 155 in the manual. So once you've filled all this in, you're going to click Save, and then you'll see them in the list here. Now this first, last on both of these are the default logins that we've given you. So you don't want to delete those, and you probably don't want to change the name on them because sometimes you have to call and have the password reset on them. So if all else fails and you are advisor and you created your own login, but you can't get in, you can always log in with that default login that we've given you. Now here in this screen, you can make them active or inactive. So maybe they're done creating the pages they were assigned to. So you can go in and make them inactive, turn off their access. You can also, if they call you and say, hey, I forgot my password, this is where you're going to go. You'll go to edit, and then you'll go in and you'll choose another password for them and save that. And then they'll be able to log in again. You can also view the activity of your users. So this is kind of big and long, but it's going to list everything that's been done to your book and who's done it. So that's if you need to do some background checking, you can always go here. You can always view activity overall here also. Now the email all, whenever you put in those email addresses, when you click this, it's going to pop an email up with all those email addresses in there. And you can say, hey, we've got to get going. Our deadline's coming up. Or you can kind of keep in touch with everybody this way that's on your team. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to assign pages for your users or your team. So anywhere that it says unassigned staff, anybody that logs into the book to work on the pages can access any of these that say unassigned staff. So what you'll want to do is click here and click on the drop down, and you'll just choose your staff members that you want to work on it. So I'm going to have Tony be responsible for these 2 pages. You'll go up here and you'll save all. So now when Tony logs in, they'll be able to access these 2 pages. And if you have assigned everybody, pages to each person, and you don't have any unassigned staff pages, then that's the only 2 pages that Tony will be able to work on. Once they work on them and get them like they want them, they will be able to complete them, but they won't be able to unlock them. The advisor status will have to go in and unlock them if there's a mistake there and they need to correct it. Okay, so let's move on to the font section here. Go to Plan and Fonts. Now, if you want to see all the fonts that are available and you want to see them, on paper, in the manual, they're on page 223, and it'll tell you which category they're in, and it might just be helpful too when you're choosing fonts. You want to keep in mind, if you're putting on busy backgrounds, you want to make sure that you choose a font that's pretty strong and bold, that you can read it. You also want to make sure it's a good size that you can read. We struggle with that here a lot. We have to put books on hold whenever the background's dark and you can't read the text. So you'll want to be sure to choose a contrasting color or choose something that's pretty bold that you can see. Now when you choose a font, you'll just click on it and you can preview it over here. You can just go down the list. And when you add it, you'll click the active button here. And now when you go to the pages section, you'll actually see that option there. Now styles is a new thing that we had last year, and it's pretty handy actually. And a style is maybe you want the headlines on all the sports pages to look the same. So you'll click on style and you're going to add a style. We're going to name it. I'm going to call it sports headings. It's going to be called headline, and I'm going to choose which font I want to use. I'm just going to choose something here. And I want it to pop over onto the page every time, 36 point. I'm going to save it. Now let me see if I can refresh. Oh, there it is right there. And I see I spelled it wrong. So I'm going to go in here and edit it. Whoops, I took it all out. Save. Okay, so now whenever I go to the pages section, we'll be able to find it and you can drag it over there and it will be that particular size. I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the ReplayIt. And the ReplayIt is the private photo submission. It's a separate website that you can send this jostens.com link out, and you can send it to your team or teachers or other parents. Maybe you have some senior parents that you want to collect images from. You can go here and then you'll need to fill in these fields. You'll check this little box. You want to set a date for it to start. And you want to keep in mind today's the 11th. So if you set it up to start next Monday, the 17th, you would not be able to log in and test it until the 17th. Now the end date, you want it to be maybe a couple of weeks or a month before your submission date so that you get all the pictures and you don't have any last minute images coming in that you have to go through and try to get in the book. You don't need to change this number. You'll click this enable site button and click save, and it's going to fill in these fields here. Now if you wanted to use the flyer we have, you'll actually need to go in here and change this website here because it won't take you to the memory book. I believe it'll just take you to the Jostens. But you'll type in that really long number that was over here, this number right here. But you can actually just highlight this link right here and you can put it in an email or anything. Now, if you try to put that on Facebook, for some reason, Facebook changes the format of that, and so it doesn't work as a link anymore. So that's something to consider. Okay, so once you've got this set up and you've got images coming in, you're going to go to the Create tab and go to the Image Library, and they're going to be here in this first folder, and the advisor is the only one that can see this. So if you want your team to be able to sort images for you, because this is just going to be where everybody lands, you can't create folders in here or sort them. So what you would want to do is maybe select all these images and move them down into a current folder. I think on previous ones here, I've got my image share folder. So I've actually selected those images and moved them down into here. So now my staff team can find them and they can help me sort them or tag them, whatever you need to do there. Okay, so now I want to show you how to move images forward from last year. Let me make this a little bit smaller again. So here in the image library, if you'll notice, is my 2021 images. Well, there's folders under here. So I logged into last year's book and I moved these folders forward so that I could access these images from last year. So maybe if you have a picture of the school or the mascot or something and you used it last year, you can always move that folder forward and then you can access the image, and you'll need to select the ones you want to use and move them down into a current folder. Now to move a folder forward, you're going to get your information from last year and you're going to log in last year's book and you'll click on a folder and then you'll click the little 2022 button up here. Now this is a 22 account, so it's telling me it's a 2023, move it forward to 2023. So when you click on that, you get the little arrow on the folder. That means it's moved forward. And then when you log into this year's book, you'll find it here under My 2021 Images. So let's say I want to use my cat picture. I'm going to drag it down into one of my a current folder here. When you go to create your pages, you will not be able to see any of these folders and you won't be able to see the ReplayIt. So they'll have to be down here in one of these folders that you're currently using. Okay, if you have got templates from last year, maybe you want the baby page to be the same every year. So if you've gone in and you've saved that page as a template, when you log into this year's book and you go to your new page designer, over here at the left, you'll go to designs and you'll go down to My 2021 templates. And these are the templates that were saved last year. So if there's specific pages you really want, you'll need to go in and save them as a template from in last year's book. And then they'll show up here in My 2021 image or template. You can drag it over and see the template. The image boxes are all empty, and then it's gone back to just gibberish, that default text that's in there. And while we're here, I'll show you where you can find your headlines. So here's the styles, and there's my sports headline. So I'll click and drag it over to the page, and it's that size font, and it's the font I chose. So here you can just choose a different color. Let's say the school colors are orange. And you're good to go. That'll speed things up a lot. And also when you're just wanting to use a few fonts and maybe you want to just limit what people are using, you can create these styles and then just stress to them. Now use the styles I've set up for the different sections and you'll get a lot more consistency throughout your book. Okay, and let me back up here. The ReplayIt private photo submission information is on page 167 in the manual. And the multiple logins was on page 155. And the font selections on 223. I also want to remind everyone to be sure to send in their CD with their pictures, their school pictures, or your link. Send that to your customer rep so we can get those uploaded into your an account and so that you can work on those. Now, when we get those uploaded, you'll find those in the image library under the portrait section here. Now, here in the portrait section, anytime you see the little arrow, when you click on it, it's going to open it up. So then they're going to be here under the portrait section, and they're going to be sorted however you ask us to sort them. So if you want them in here by grade, you wanted all the third grade together, we'll use the information on that spreadsheet and get them uploaded that way for you. Okay, do I have any questions now? Let's see. Okay, how can we add new photos from Google Drive? You can upload to any of these categories here that are already made in these folders. So what you would do if you don't have a folder here that you can use, or you want to make a new one, we'll click on the word activity and go to the top column here, and we're going to click add a new subcategory, and then it's going to ask you to name it. So let's just call it PTO fun, teacher fun. Click OK, and then it's going to go down through here in alphabetical order, and you're going to go to the upload button, and here it's got import from other services. You can click the Google Drive and then navigate to your images you want to upload from there. Okay, new advisor, need help with image upload, tagging, folders, etc. Okay, I just went over the creating the folders and uploading. Now, if you weren't going to use Google Drive, you just click the upload button, and then you can choose what images you wanted to upload and click open. Now, the program will support PNG, JPEG, and TIFFs. Can photos be uploaded from a Dropbox? No, you'll need to actually put those on your computer, and then you'll be able to upload them that way. And the website I'm on right now is memoryebooks.com. That's where I went to log in. Do we have any other questions? What is tagging in regards to photos? Okay, so if you'll notice here on these portraits, there's a little tag icon here in the corner. That means that there's a name associated with the image. Now, under the portrait section, you need to have all of your images tagged. So when you use the flow function, they'll flow in there alphabetically onto the page, on your class page. Now, if you're trying to keep track of who is in the book and how many times they're in the book, say you have a senior class or maybe kindergartners, and you want to make sure everybody's in there twice. If you go in and tag images, then there's a coverage report, and it's going to show you how many pages and how many times that's how many times that student's in the book. So to tag an image, you click the info button here, the details button. We're going to add a tag, and if your images are already uploaded, then it's going to pop a list up here. I'm going to go ahead and just choose somebody here in my list. And I know that doesn't match. But now, let's see, did it save it? Yes. But it doesn't have a tag in the corner. Oh, there we go. I had to refresh the view. So now when this picture is put on a page, when you go to the coverage report, it's going to show you how many times that student is in the book. What is the flow you just mentioned? Okay, so if you send us your images to your portraits to upload, when we upload them, a name is going to be linked to the picture. So when you go to put them on a page, and I'll just do this real quick because we've got other webinars that will show you how to do this. You're going to put a flow panel on the page, and you're going to choose a class to flow on here. Going to choose a page, how you want the name to flow over. And let's see, I'm going to 43 images. Let's see if it'll flow. Okay. So let me put another one over here. I think I need to save. Okay, so the students all float over here with their names. Then you can change these flow panels however you'd like. Okay, I've got a question here that if you've got a missing student and they want to know if you can crop the image on the page. So once you get it float on there, and I know it's really hard to stand your kids up next to the wall and get the same effect as the photographers had when they take the pictures. But if you double click on the flow panel and you click the crop button, then you can resize that. You can make it larger or smaller, and you can kind of drag your image around. Now, I know that's exaggerated, but that's how our crop works. But it would probably be good if you could crop the picture as close to what the others look like as you can before you upload it. And can you please repeat how to upload from your computer? Okay, we're going to go to our image library. We're going to choose a folder here or create one. You'll click on the new subcategory and name it. And you're going to click the add upload button. And if you do upload images, you're going to navigate to wherever your pictures are on your computer. Or go to Google Drive. Okay. You don't have to enter each student's name. Now, if you have just a handful of kids, say you had maybe 15 kids in each class, then you could actually create your portrait folders and you could upload directly to those. But you would have to go in like we did that candid picture, and you would have to add a tag. These kids are already on a page, so it's not letting me do that. But you would click the add button and you would type a name in and click done. You would do that for all your kids in your grades. And then when you went to your flow function, you would actually click and drag them over, or they would flow onto the page in the alphabetical order. Otherwise, you'll have to type the name on the page and just drag the kids' pictures over manually. Now, when you're tagging your images, you don't need to hit enter after each student name. You would just, let me see if I got a class here that isn't tagged. No, they're all going to be tagged. Okay, so what you do is click on this. You would edit the tag, and then you would change the name, and you could click next, and it would move on down through there. But that's a great way to get them on the pages. Okay. In the stop and start, when you're flowing your pages, that just means that I want these kids to be on page 12. And if I had a lot of students, I just needed to save a while ago. That's why it wasn't letting me flow. But if I was going to fill both of these pages with the same grade or the same group, I would choose 13, and then they would flow all on here, and then they'd start up here and flow over here. And it automatically deletes the extra boxes. Okay, so I think that about covers it here. Feel free to call us anytime or email tech support, and we'll be happy to walk you through any process. Sometimes it's a little bit easier if you're, stuck on something, to call and we can kind of go through what you're doing. Okay, the link from the photographer is to a Dropbox with several pictures of various students. Do I need to select one picture of each? Yes, in the spreadsheet, you'll need to make sure just the pictures are listed of the student, of the picture you want to use. Otherwise, we're going to upload all of them if they're all on that spreadsheet, and then you'll have to go in and say do not use on a lot of them. Now that link, if you want to send it to us, we'll go in and download all the images and upload them. But however spreadsheet setup is how we are going to upload them. And Elizabeth, if we have no picture for a kid, okay, will it automatically leave it blank? No, it will not. It's only going to flow the kids that are in the group. So you would need to go into the image library. And when we upload the images, we give you some no photos. So what you could do is click and drag that no photo over into a folder that you want it to be in. And then you would actually remove the tag and add a new tag, because it's going to change the name on all of them. And now that student's going to have a no photo picture, and it'll flow in there alphabetically. I have a question. What is a spreadsheet? So whenever your photographer does your images, they're going to send you, it used to be PSPA format. I'm not sure what it is now, but it's got a folder that has all the images in it. And then it's got a spreadsheet that's going to tell us what folder the images are in, and it's going to have the first and last name and what teacher or group they need to go into. So when we use the spreadsheet on our admin side, we're able to upload them, and it'll link that name with that image. Okay, so I have a lot of overwhelmed little comments. So it'll be fine, you guys. We'll just be happy to help you with anything. So just give us a call anytime. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. I hope this webinar has helped to make the getting started process not feel so overwhelming. Please join us next week for Working with Portraits. We will be showing you how to organize your class portraits so you can use the auto flow function to build a class page. Thank you. Yes, the recording will be available on Friday. We'll have another live webinar on Thursday, so we'll send out those links at the end of the week so you can view them and share them with your team. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a good afternoon.